Reaction with Levy, and we are starting a new show here on YouTube. We're going to start with a morning sports edition one reaction show. We're going to break down, react to the biggest games from the latest night, and then look forward to some games later today and really break down what's going on right now in the sports world as we stand today for the morning. It's going to be quick. It's going to be fast. Let's get going. Let's start in the college football world. Oklahoma, Florida was the big game. Oklahoma, they showed they're going to be really good next year. Spencer Rattler and Oklahoma with a big-time win over Florida. I love the way they played, and they look like Spencer Rattler looks like a Heisman contender, and this team looks like a contender next year in the college football season. Also, wanted to just hit on my Wisco Live of -3.5 on my one reaction picks. That hit an excellent job running the football from Wisconsin, and even though they broke their trophy, they still won the game comfortably, 41-27 after trailing 14-0. College basketball. So what we saw tonight, I'm going to take away. We saw the Road Warriors of Seton Hall, Virginia, Arkansas, Mississippi State. They showed their strength as a college basketball team. Big Ten also continues to stay loaded. John Rothstein tweeted this. I liked what they said. Penn State played Indiana and Michigan. Two on the road, two teams that we think are pretty good. They're two ranked at one point. They're pretty good. And they gave them both a game. This Big Ten conference is just so deep. You see Minnesota, Northwestern, these teams beating these high-powered schools, and you're like, are they just all bad? Are they good? I think this is probably the deepest and best conference right now in America as we sit here in December. You like to see Florida back after their incident with Johnson. All the best to him. Tennessee, properly rated. Missouri, overrated. We saw today also with the Road Warriors, we also saw some fluke teams really lose. Those undefeated fluke teams like a Georgia, Xavier, Missouri, they all lost as undefeated teams as we expected. NBA, let's hit on this real fast. You had the Nets versus Hawks. I thought that was the best game of the night. Fun. I watched the last 3 minutes. A lot of good basketball. Kyrie Irving, what a fourth quarter, really led them. And you just see the good bench play. Landry Shamet got involved. Tayshaun Prince, big threes from Harris. He was 6 for 8 from 3 in the starting lineup. So this Nets team is deep, and they're really good with Kyrie Irving and KD. Even with the loss of Dinwiddie, Hawks will be fun. Of course, they can play offense. I don't know about that defense. Heat versus Bucks, the second game. So they do these series now. A lot of fun. Middleton was off tonight, so the Bucks lost. Hero, that was the big takeaway. Struggled in the starting lineup now, but then he finally showed up today. Dragic off the bench was great. If those two guys can step up, you didn't have Jimmy Butler, and you still beat those Milwaukee Bucks. Good showing for Miami. Good for Eric Spoelstra to see his team get a W. Lakers Spurs, you saw the first woman coach. Cool after Pop was rejected. That was a cool moment, and you also saw the 36th birthday for James result in an easy W. Grizzlies Celtics, you saw Jaylen Brown. That was the main takeaway of this game. Jaylen Brown, 42 points. Really just a great game. Bill Simmons compared him to a young-looking Paul George. I kind of like that. I really do. I think this guy can play defense. He can play offense. If you can have 42 in one eye, he's a really good player. And Tatum and Brown, again, just continue to impress. Hornets versus Mavs. This was a surprise game of the night, so you always got that one surprise game. This was it. So Hornets won big, and this was kind of like a spot right here. You had Dallas off that huge blowout win against the Clippers. They didn't really show up. Hornets, now in 2 straight games, you beat the Nets. You beat the Mavs. Just saying, just putting it out there, even though they're one of the worst teams in the East. Trailblazers versus Clippers. This was a classic spot. I had the Clippers in this game on one reaction picks. I really liked the spot for the Clippers, and they really showed up. Kawhi Leonard coming back. They played really good basketball from the tip. Trailblazers after the win versus the Lakers, they get a little complacent. Clippers after getting embarrassed, they wanted to really come out and show their strength. They did and got a big W. It was a blowout from the start. Now let's look forward to tomorrow. We're gonna go from today to tomorrow, and let's start with the bowl games. We have Mississippi State Tulsa at 12 p.m. Those are always fun. Very interesting play I like here. Mississippi State is an underdog, only 1.5 points. Should maybe an interesting. I'll look into it more tomorrow. Should be a close game, I think, in the 12 p.m. window. You also see Army after the whole thing with Army getting a bowl game. They didn't get one at first, and Tennessee couldn't play because of COVID. So now they're playing West Virginia Army as 7-point dogs. That's good for all of college football. A lot of college football analysts and other guys like Dave Portnoy coming out and saying Army needs to get in a bowl game. They did. We get to see them in action tomorrow night against West Virginia. College basketball, we got a ranked matchup tomorrow. So 21 Minnesota versus Wisconsin -8. Wisconsin off a loss, Minnesota off a win, maybe some value. The line's up to 8, so it's pretty high. We'll see how that transpires. Michigan, Maryland, another one. Michigan right now -1. I think it's a very close game. Big Ten battle. If that line moves, I might look at that, but of course, go blue. And then let's look at the NBA. I like 2 games tomorrow night. Should be interesting. Magic Sixers. Can the Magic, only undefeated team here right now, can they stay undefeated? And then they're right now 3-point dogs. And then you got the Suns Jazz. Sneaky good game here, right? You have Devin Booker, Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield / Tyrese Halliburton. No. That's the Kings. Suns, you have Booker, Paul, Jazz, Mitchell, Conley. Very interesting game. You also have the Kings Rockets, which I meant to say next. Harden versus Fox should be another interesting matchup. West's got a lot of good teams. And especially Ja Morant's out for this extended period. That could hurt them in the long run because there's just a lot of good guards right now in the Western Conference. So that's the show. It was 6 minutes, maybe a little longer than I wanted. Big day tomorrow. Bowl games, college basketball, NBA. We got New Year's Eve. It should be fun. One Reaction with Levy, morning edition, December 31st.